Hello there, and a very warm welcome to this masterclass, How to Leverage Your Online Brand in 3 Easy Steps. This is not a live recording. There are no comments, nobody asking questions. It's just me giving you as much information as I can in the next 60 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on how slowly or how fast I speak. So let's get started. What I want to show you is how to leverage your online brand without feeling confused, without doubting yourself, without going into overwhelm. There is so much information out there. It's sometimes extremely difficult to know what to do. And as I'm going to be mentioning throughout the masterclass, you are unique. And, you know, when somebody says you have follow this system or follow that system, and you think, yeah, okay, fantastic, that, you know, that's going to work, and it doesn't work. And then it's like, oh, I must have done something wrong. And then the focus comes back on you and you start putting yourself down. And that's very difficult to deal with especially if you're on your own in business, and you are one of thousands out there. So it's really important for me that you understand, as we're going through today, that you are completely unique, and regardless of systems and structures and information that you are given, it is up to you to decide what is best for you so that you get the results that are right for you. So my goal from this masterclass, as I said, is for you to understand how you showing up as you is actually going to be very beneficial to you, attracting the right type of people you want to work with, in the right environment, doing the things that you love. And what I have seen over the past few months since the pandemic began, a critical element of you growing your business is always going to be to connect with people. I'm going to show you in a minute why this was, I love connecting with people. I've always loved working with people. But right now, the best way for you to connect with the people that you want to work with, that you want to sell to, you want to market to, is to do that online. So as I said, I want to show you in this masterclass how important it is to be comfortable with who you are so that you can market and sell to the people who are a good fit for you, that you're going to enjoy working with. Now, clearly, as I said, there are a huge amount of marketeers out there right now. Everybody's saying, do this, do that, and, make your millions overnight. And clearly, if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably will be. So what makes today different? Well, my name is Gwyneth, and from a very young age, I wanted to save the world. I told my mum I wanted to go off and save the world. My grandmother was Austrian. I had a connection to Austria, and I always wanted to work for the United Nations. It was a big dream for me as a child. I tried when I was 16. They said, go away, dear, you're a bit young. So I worked as an au pair girl in Vienna. I looked after a fabulous dog called Gustav and did the cleaning and cooking for a family there when I was a teenager. I then worked for a record company as the youngest ever international promotion manager. Met quite a few interesting people on the pop scene circuit, shall we say. And eventually I did get into the UN when I was just about 23. And I then worked in the humanitarian organizations for more than 20 years. I didn't have any qualifications. I had hated school. I wanted to leave as soon as I possibly could. And there were people along the way that did tell me, you'll never make it. You've got no expertise. You don't know anything, in particular about human rights or law or whatever. But I have always helped people. I've loved helping people to become the best version of themselves. Having been through some challenges, shall we say, as a teenager, and also then throughout work, being told you're too young, you're this, you're that. We judge each other so easily. When I was 46, I did my MBA, and then I was made redundant. But I sincerely believe that from the bottom of my heart that if you want brilliance, if you want to stand out, if you want to do what you love, that you can. But you have to want to. Now, I've done a lot of things right. Like I said, when the organization I was working with in 2011, when we were closing down, people talked about doing a Gwyneth, because the majority of my team, more than 40 people from 14 different countries, even though they knew they were going to be losing their jobs, they stayed with us right until the last day. I think one person left. And it was because I placed huge emphasis and importance on being honest. Even if I couldn't tell them something, I would say, the decision hasn't been taken and I'm not able to tell you yet. And because I was carrying on having that conversation with them and being authentic and showing up as me, the trust was there and they stayed with me for a long time. But when I lost my job in 2011, I did a lot of things wrong. It took me the best part of 2 years to work out what it was I wanted to do. I spent most of my savings. Having worked in the international organizations, I thought it might be quite easy to go back into those organizations and set myself up as a trainer to do training on things that I knew people had problems with. So I started off by delivering workshops on report writing, because I knew it was less about the grammar and the spelling, a lot more about what was happening up here with people, again, being told, you're no good, English isn't your native language, all the stuff that people, they just, put out, and they don't really think about what it is, what the effect is of what it is that they're saying. So from a personal perspective, though, because I really wasn't very clear on what it was I wanted to do, I just had to start doing something, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I did treat my business as a hobby. Because I was having such a fantastic time, and over the next few years, I did build up my business considerably, traveled all over the world, crikey, I don't even remember the number of organizations I've worked with, but yeah, Washington, Montreal, Kiev, Belgrade, Pristina, Trieste, everywhere. It's been an amazing few years. But it was always very difficult to treat my business as a business in the beginning, because I was having such a nice time. And it's like, wow, people are paying me for this. And there is a tendency to, not take yourself seriously. And absolutely, it's just been the past 3 or 4 years where I sat myself down and, have to be the CEO of my business. And I'm responsible for paying my bills. This is what I've got to do. But there's also this constant little voice in your head, I love what I do. Why would people pay me for this? I'm not qualified. I never had formal teacher training or trainer training or any of those things. I can just talk to people. I just can. It's a skill. I don't have a qualification. But because of what I was hearing and, also seeing other people delivering workshops, although I was very lucky, I was in a niche where there was no competition. But I was convinced that nobody would want to pay me for my work. And when you're telling yourself negative stuff like that as well, there is a tendency to kind of shrink back and not really put yourself out there. And the result of all this, of course, was that I felt incredibly alone. Now, the majority of entrepreneurs and other people I've spoken to over the years feel the same. And there is a loneliness that never, ever goes away. But that loneliness over time, if you're working on yourself, if you're working on believing that you can actually do it, showing up as you instead of trying to put a mask on, that loneliness will lessen, and it transforms, even, let's say, into a kind of a peace. It's accepting, like, yeah, I know I'm going to be on my own here. Not everybody's always going to understand what I'm on about, but I know that I can do this. And so, like I said, that loneliness kind of then transforms into a bit of peace, if you like. Now, I discovered how to build my online brand the hard way, and you get to cheat and you get the easy way. The hard way is also trying to copy what other people are doing. And this is what I said in the beginning. When, somebody says, do this, do that. This is what you need to do. Follow my system and you too can be rich and wealthy and successful. And it doesn't work, because you are an individual, you are special, you have a gift to give to the people that you are working with. And like I said, although there will always be systems and potentially structures that you can work with, copying what other people are doing, it's not going to work for you. Another thing, the hard way, not selling. hoping that people are going to notice you, not making an effort to market and sell, hoping that if you put enough nice photographs on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, that somebody someday is going to notice and miraculously pick up the telephone. It doesn't work like that. There are various statistics that kind of say, it can take anywhere between 15, 16 and 20 plus times for somebody to actually notice you. And if you're not selling online, you're going to have a really, really hard time getting people's attention. And the number 3 on of the hard ways is not having a strategy. Again, I'm as guilty as this as the next person in my earlier years. Is just posting something and maybe that will work, and posting something else and maybe that will work. And you get a few likes, you get a few comments, and it makes you feel good. But honestly, that is not a good strategy to build your business. You really need to be targeting your posts, your social media. You need to know who you are talking to. That's one of the most critical elements of your business. Market to one, sell to many. So I'm guessing if you're here, you would like to know, you would like to learn the easy way to leverage your online brand. Well, I have split a vast amount of information down into 3 keys. Clearly, I cannot cover everything in 60 minutes. I probably couldn't even cover everything in 60 days. But today I want to focus on 3 specific things, and hopefully they are going to talk to you, these elements that I'm talking about, these keys I'm talking about, so that you can then implement them. They're very simple, like I said, but if you do these 3 things that I talk about today, if you take action, then you will have at least begun to understand how your online brand affects your business. Now, discover why your personal brand is your business brand too. Number 2 is learn how to leverage Facebook to build your brand and pre-sell to your clients and customers. It's all about letting them get to know you, letting them see the face behind the business. And number 3, key number 3, I'm going to give you one change that you can make to your website that I read in a book from a fabulous chap, Marcus Sheridan, They Ask You Answer. I'll go into more details about that. That will automatically position you as the go-to expert, depending, of course, on how far down you niche. But this one change will position you as an expert, giving you credibility and authority. I know that sounds miraculous, but I promise you this particular activity works. So, key number 1, why is your personal brand your business brand as well? Well, as I've already mentioned, you are completely unique. You are one in more than 7 billion, and you do things your own way. You have your own set of values, and put quite simply, if you don't like someone, you will have a hard time working with them. And when I talk about your values, I just want to give you a brief example here. So I love animals. I'm vegetarian. I tried veganism for a while, but didn't do me good, but I'm vegetarian. Now, as such, I'm very aware about, what happens in farming and things. Those things are important to me, and I want to do what I can to make the world a better place, even though I'm not working in the UN anymore. I would have a very, very hard time coaching somebody, working with somebody in the meat industry or in the farming industry, or somebody, a hen farmer, a chicken farmer or something. That would grate with me big time, knowing what happens in those particular industries. By the same token, if you're somebody who's very bubbly, who's very sociable, you love meeting people, you love networking and all those things, you're probably going to have a very hard time working with somebody who's quite introverted, who doesn't want to put their photo up on Facebook. This happens to me. I'm quite like, get out there, show your face behind the business, show your face behind the brand. And some people, they put up avatars and it absolutely kills me, because it's like, why wouldn't you show the world how fabulous you are? Now, when it comes to marketing to people, like I said, you are who you are. You can't be one person in your personal life and another person in your business life. You may communicate in a different way. You may have a different type of conversation with your clients than you do with your family, with your partner, with your children, with your pets. You might be using different key phrases and words, but you are still the same person. This is why I say your business brand is the same as your personal brand. Don't try and separate the two. If you do, you will come across as being misaligned and fake. And people, even the most logical of people, say, oh, you can't tell, the sixth sense, gut instinct. No, that's not true. But let me tell you, from an emotional intelligence perspective, when somebody's thinking about working with you, they first of all think it for a split second, and then it becomes an emotion. How do I feel about this person? And when that emotion goes into your awareness, it's then that they start thinking and start judging and start taking decisions. But the second that somebody takes a decision to work with you, it is an emotion. Do I like you? Do I want to work with you? Do I want to buy from you? If I don't like you, I'm not going to work with you. It's as simple as that. Now, just think very briefly about your shopping habits or which car you drive. When you look at washing detergent being advertised, for example, you don't see anybody there with a box of washing powder or gel or whatever, reading the stuff on the back saying, it's got all these chemicals in and it's going to make your stuff fabulously white. No, they show you pictures of the sunshine or people having a party or, oh, it smells so nice and water lilies flying off all over the place. It's all about an emotion. You are exuding emotional energy regardless of where you are, and this is why it's so important for you to feel comfortable with who you are, to be clear on your values, to not try to be somebody else in your business than you are at home with your family, even though you're going to be using different phrases and words. I said that already. But to feel comfortable in the knowledge that when you are authentic, when you are showing up as you, that you are going to be automatically attracting, for the most part, the right type of people who want to work with you. Now, clearly, a bright light attracts moths and butterflies. So you have to know which ones to let go by and which ones you actually work with. But I promise you that when you give yourself permission to be who you are in your business, that is when you will begin to attract a different type of client, when you're not trying to be somebody else, when you are clear on your values, when you are clear on your boundaries, when you are clear on your parameters. Working with the right type of people will get a lot easier. Now, key number 2, this is a practical piece of information. Learn how to leverage Facebook to build your brand and pre-sell to your clients and customers. Now, clearly, I'm talking about branding from an emotional perspective. That emotion, I mean, this is a huge subject as well. It's too much to go in on this masterclass. But as children, we attach emotions to certain events. Some people don't like people in authority because they had a rotten teacher. For many years, I've worked with people getting ready to promote themselves for interview. But I'm the same. I hated school. I hated exams. And, that emotion then as a child is so strong, you take that emotion through with you to adulthood, and then it's really difficult to go into an interview or a written test. And it's the same for selling. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm not going to do it right. People won't like me. And all of this stuff that we tell ourselves. But I want you to take some time out and go and look at your Facebook profile, assuming you've got a Facebook profile. Look at your profile picture and your newsfeed and ask yourself, what does this say about me? What's the impression that I'm giving people when they first come to my personal newsfeed? Now, there is a statistic. Google did some research a few years ago. I haven't been able to find an updated statistic, but Google did some research a few years ago that said, the majority of people, if they want to work with you or if they're looking for something online, they look up online. But 60% of the people who find you or find what it is they're looking for, 60% will take a decision based upon what they find online. That means that if you've got a profile picture of your children potentially on your personal newsfeed, on your Facebook profile picture, and they are looking to you for, I don't know, gardening, there's a mismatch. There's no alignment between what it is that you are marketing, what you're selling, and what's on your personal page. Now, I've had numerous conversations over the past few months with people about what, it's personal. It's my personal page. If you're in business, as I've already told you, your business brand and your personal brand are one and the same. You are your business. Regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or a small business owner, you are your business. And it matters what people find when they come and look you up. Is there an emotional connection with your audience? Are you using video? Are you posting on a regular basis? Now, one thing you could do, if you feel brave enough, is to ask somebody in your family or maybe one of your friends, or maybe, if you have got some business contacts, just say, would you mind? I'm just working on my brand. I want to up my game on social media. I want to up my game online. Would you mind just answering these 3 questions when you look at my Facebook profile, and ask them, what does my picture say to you? How do you feel about when you look at my news feed, beg your pardon, and do you think I'm posting enough, or would you want more information from me? Now, I understand that might require a little bit of courage. And I don't actually like that word courage, because it implies that you're kind of like weak, and you're not. I know you've got a big, big heart in you, and I know that you have a gift to share. I just want to tell you a very quick story, something that I heard when I was training to be a coach back in 2013. And that was that whenever you worry about, sharing your gift, and it doesn't matter if it's products or services, just imagine you have cooked a most incredible feast. You've got a table in front of you filled with fantastic food. And on the other side of the table, you've got a bunch of people who haven't eaten for a while. And they're so looking forward. They're so looking forward to this magnificent feast that you've prepared for them. And then at the last minute, you're like, oh no, I forgot to put the salt in, or oh no, I forgot to put the sugar in, or oh no, I don't like that plate that I put that bread on. No, sorry, you can't eat it. But you've got a bunch of people on the other side of the table who haven't eaten, and they want to eat your food, and you're saying no. So just think as well, every time you hide yourself, you are depriving the people that are looking for you, that want to work with you, of your gift. Now, that might sound a little bit deep, but you know what? Actually, that's what it comes down to. Because every time you say no to others, you're also saying no to yourself from a business perspective. Okay, so as I've already told you several times, your personal brand and your business brand, they are not separate. People need to know who you are so that they can decide, do I like this person? Don't I like this person? Now, you might say, no, I need to get to know them better and all the rest of it. But actually, from a time perspective, I would much rather somebody took the decision very quickly about whether they liked what they saw or not, so that I'm not spending time talking to people that really aren't very sure. Now, when we meet people in person, we generally judge them within 5 or 6 seconds. When you meet somebody and you reach out your hand, or maybe you don't reach out your hand now to shake hands, there's the brain, the mind is taking in, your eyes are processing, the brain is processing all the information, the colors that they're wearing, the length of their hair, glasses, all these things. And that takes a few seconds. But when we are looking at things online, our brains are working much, much faster. And I decide within 2 seconds, do I like you? Don't I like you? And like I said, that's why it's so important to have a photograph of you on your personal profile page, and not pets or holidays or your children. I'm not saying that those things aren't important. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, from a business perspective, if you want people to connect with you, you have to show them your fabulous, smiley, shiny face, so that they can easily take a decision. Yes, I like the look of this person. Yes, I get a good feeling, although of course they're not consciously thinking these things, they are feeling these things, so that they understand, is there an emotional connection? Do I want to find out more? Do I not want to find out more? And also use your personal newsfeed banner to tell people what you're doing. It's a great opportunity to talk to people about a group, or take them to your website, or tell them about an upcoming challenge, whatever it is. But use that space. There is nothing wrong with using that space on your Facebook profile page. On your introduction as well. Now, in between times, I have deleted pretty much everything here on the intro, because I'm now running, I've got a Facebook group. There's going to be a challenge, and I only want people to find my group. But if you've got a website and you're selling from the website and you want people to go to your website, have your website there. You could argue that, yes, you want to put your business connection, your Facebook business page connection in there. That's absolutely fine. No problem with that. If you've got a very long URL, for example, my YouTube URL was very long, you can shorten it using bit.ly or one of the other URL shorteners. But just think about it from this perspective. Whatever you've got there, what do you want people who are looking you up, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to go to your business page? Do you want them to go into a group? Don't confuse people with too many choices about what it is that you're doing. I would say, like I said, I've just deleted everything. I've got just one sentence. I've just got one link here now to my group. But do think about, again, be critical of the information that you're sharing there. Does it describe or does it allow potential clients and customers to take the next step if they want to? Another thing that you can do on your business page is to also leverage that space, leverage that banner to take people to a group, or to your website, or to an event, or to a challenge, or whatever it is, a special offer. Don't just put meaningless photographs on that banner on your Facebook page. It is valuable space, and if somebody is looking you up, you want to have a very, very clear message for them about what it is that you want them to do next. And again, I've got my profile picture on the picture and on the banner. Consistency is also key. This is another reason why it's important to have your picture on your profile, on your personal profile, so that you are building up. Do you remember I said that it takes people anywhere between 16 and 20 plus times to actually register what they're seeing? If you've got the same photograph everywhere, their brains, you're not brainwashing them, that's not what I'm trying to say, but we learn through repetition. And if your brain is seeing something, or if your clients and customers' minds are looking at you and they're starting to feel an attraction, I mean that on a very logical sales basis, then learning that repetition, you are already developing the emotional connection so that you are potentially pre-selling to your customers and clients. You're already building your working relationship with them before you've even spoken to them. Now, another very useful thing on your Facebook page is that for every photograph that you have there, you can include some blurb about you, introducing you. So what I was saying earlier about taking all the links away from the introduction. Here again, you can potentially have 1 or 2 links, but not too much. What step do you want your potential clients and customers to take next? Where do you want them to go? Do you want them to visit your website, go into your group? Is there an offer coming up? This is a very, very useful space. Don't just post a photograph. Always have on your business page, always have a description of the banner and the banner on your Facebook personal newsfeed and your picture on your business page. Give people that information. Make sure that that message is consistent and constant and telling them the same thing. Don't be telling them on your personal newsfeed, come over to my group, and then on your business page telling them to go to your website. That's confusing. Send them in one direction so that you are repeating the information, helping them understand which step you would like them to take next. Now, I just want to tell you about somebody I've been working with for a few months. I've known her for a very, very long time. But when the pandemic started and my business, well, it disappeared very, very quickly. But I've been working with people on and off on the side, doing marketing because I worked so much with people in international organizations over the past 6-7 years as a trainer. A lot of that was career coaching. A lot of that was you getting comfortable with speaking about yourself, promoting yourself, marketing yourself, making that emotional connection, also over video and all those things. It's the same principles apply in business as well. So this fabulous lady, Catherine at Mad Molly, now, she is very camera shy, it has to be said, and it took me a while to encourage her to start providing some photographs of her. But every time she does, the likes, the comments, the shares on her Facebook business page, they just shoot up. The statistics just shoot up. And whilst she sells a lot of lovely gifts, and as is the case with many small business owners, particularly handicrafts, using eBay, Amazon, what else is there? Etsy, not on the high street. And those sites are great, for exposure because they've got the big search engine and they help people find what they're looking for. The downside, of course, is that they're taking a commission from you as well. So I've been working with Catherine to push traffic to her website, and it did take a few months. It took a few months, I'm going to be absolutely honest, but she is now beginning to see the results, and she's so happy, as you can see from this testimonial she gave me. She's so happy that actually now she's getting 100% of the sales that she is making from her website. Showing up as you, showing people behind the face behind the business is always going to make a huge difference. People are nosy. They're curious. They want to know what other people are doing. We posted photographs. Okay, so this is Catherine with her dog Charlie. We've done Charlie having a haircut. We have had Catherine just wrapping gifts. It's not rocket science. It's a day in the life of these things. They don't have to be hugely professional, but you do have to show up to allow your potential clients and customers to get to know you better, to build that emotional connection so that they can then more easily decide whether they want to work with you, buy from you or not. Now, key number 3, this is one of my favorite things. And gosh, had I known about this years ago, it would have made a huge difference. So make this one change on your website to position yourself as the go-to expert. Now, clearly, this just depends entirely on how far you have niched down into which particular sector you're working, and if you are working with a specific group of people, architects or swimmers or whatever. And it's so simple when you think about it. It's to answer people's questions, to describe the pros and cons of the particular sector of work that you're in, talking about pricing, describing different methods for whatever it is you do, and also to talk about your competitors positively. Now, I know all this sounds a bit, flipping heck. I wouldn't be talking about my competitors on my website. But there is this book, They Ask, You Answer. I've got it right here by Marcus Sheridan. And it's one of those books where I took so many notes. I could have rewritten the book myself because in every chapter there was something that I took away. But the biggest thing was this thing about websites. Now, particularly in the coaching industry, there's a big tendency to offer discovery calls or strategy calls, or you want to offer some kind of 20 or 30-minute call with somebody so that you can decide whether you are a good fit. And there's no problem with that. But sometimes you're having a lot of calls and nothing is happening because these are the wrong people getting in touch. There's somebody else I'm working with, and they have to go and visit site. They have to go and look on site to answer people's questions. Now that potentially takes 4 or 5 hours of their time just for one client or customer, and there is no sale guaranteed there. So this is something I've suggested they do as well, is if you have on your website, if you have your blog, or if you have frequently asked questions, or if you just have case studies, however you want to structure it, write down all the questions people ever ask you about your business, including the pricing, including the pros and the cons, including of, how do I know if this is for me? All the questions that people ask you, keep a diary or keep a library of all those things and write the answers on your website. You will find that when people are able to get the information themselves, again, you're going to be saving yourself time and you're going to be saving them time. Now, Marcus Sheridan, he used to sell swimming pools, and he's, he was also going out to clients and customers to visit them, and it took them several hours to find out, is this the right, have we even got what they need? And a lot of time was being spent. And he said that when he started putting this, posting these answers, now clearly on Google Analytics, you cannot see who exactly, you haven't got any names or anything to see who is looking. But if you've got somebody who then comes to you, and one of your questions should always be, how did you hear about us, or what made you decide to get in touch, or whatever, then, oh, well, I just read 50 of your blogs or whatever, and there you are, and you've just saved yourself potentially hours, days, because somebody's already read everything. They've got all the information they need. They like what they see on your website because you've also got your smiley face, video, different story. And they've already made the decision that actually you seem like somebody trustworthy, credible, that they really want to work with. Now, I know some people get nervous about putting their prices on their website, but let's face it, we all want to know how much we're going to be paying. And although a lot of the purchasing decision is emotional, people want to know that they're getting value. And again, there is absolutely no point in you hiding your prices, having a call with somebody, or going to visit somebody for something, or posting beautiful photographs of fantastic products that you're producing yourself, handicrafts or whatever, and somebody's, it's so beautiful, and you spend some time talking to them and all the rest of it, and then they say, how much does it cost? And you say, it costs this much. Boom, energy down. No, thank you very much, that's way too much. And you know what? It doesn't matter. That kind of thing doesn't matter, because everybody has different values. It depends, again, on where you grew up, what your parents and your teachers told you about money mindset, different story. But talking about pricing, putting your prices on your website, again, can pre-qualify these potential clients and customers and save you time. And also, by being upfront and being honest, you are doing yourself a big favor. So many people, myself included, I've been to websites. I'm sure you've been to websites. So, well, how much does this cost? What are they trying to hide? So do also consider getting your pricing onto your website. When I talk about describing the different methods, if you are in handicrafts, then you could be describing the different types of embroidery or glass blowing, or I've got someone in my group at the moment who makes the most beautiful lamp stands. Talk about how you do your work. And finally, when it comes to talking about your competitors, and I come back to Marcus Sheridan, the example he gave was that he started putting reviews of his competitors on his website because he couldn't provide a swimming pool to every single person he ever visited. I don't recall now what it was that he specialized in, but he, say if somebody specialized in building huge concrete pools into the ground, and somebody else has just got smaller pools made of poly, whatever it's called, they're two different things. They're still a swimming pool, but they're two very different things, a kidney-shaped pool and a big Olympic sized pool. So if you can talk about the different types of products, services that you're providing, and also give people information about the choices that they have. So, for example, if you are looking for an Olympic-sized swimming pool, this is what you need to know. This is the process that is used. This is how much you can expect to pay approximately. And, we don't do that, but actually somebody down the road does. And coming back to Marcus Sheridan again, that he said what was really interesting was that in the beginning his competitors were like, what's he up to? But then they actually came to him and they started sharing information, and they also then started referring clients and customers to him, that, people that they couldn't serve. Now, by doing all these things, and like I said in the beginning, when I was working with my team and I didn't have the answers, even telling somebody you don't have the answer, even saying, no, I don't provide this, is always going to be better than trying to cover up or not answer that question. Trust is a huge element of you selling. And as I said at the beginning, if I like you, I will buy from you. If I don't like you, I will not buy from you. I want to give you another example. Why do you think you go into a specific type of supermarket? Now, again, cost is going to likely be an issue. And maybe there's some kind of specialist place where you can get something that you really, really enjoy. I know that as a British person living in Austria, there are certain things I very much miss. Tesco's oatcakes. I mean, it's so silly. Why do I like Tesco oatcakes and not Sainsbury's or Waitrose? But it's all about the emotion. It's all about the feeling of when you go into somewhere. And how do you feel? Every organization and business has a culture. What type of people are working there. There are some supermarkets I absolutely will not go into in Austria because I find the people very abrasive and rude. But the supermarket still has exactly the same, product as 3 others. So take some time to think about all of this. And, if you're serious about wanting to build up a good relationship with people before you've even spoken to them, think about making these changes to your website. Be open. I put a lot of blogs. I haven't started my new blog yet for this new pivot in my business cycle. But I've got a blog on there that says, how much does career coaching cost? What can you expect from career coaching and all these things? And I sincerely believe that honesty is always going to build trust a lot more quickly. And like I said, and if somebody doesn't want to work with you, then that's absolutely fine as well. Let them go. You don't need to sell to everybody. There are more than 7 billion people on the planet, and you cannot serve all of them. So we've been going now for 45 minutes. The 3 keys, I just want to summarize very briefly. Discover why your personal brand is your business brand too. As a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, the 2 things are not separate. You are in your business. Your values are coming through your business. What is important to you at home as a personal, private human being, those things are going to be as relevant in your business brand as well. Think about Apple and Samsung. You're not buying Steve Jobs or you're not buying the chief executives of those huge companies. It is still an emotion, but you are buying into the status. Now, you don't have the status of those huge businesses. You don't have the marketing budget that they have. You must use you to connect with the people that you want to market to. Now, I know that some people will say, actually, no, Gwyneth, I'm just going to stay as I am. But I'll tell you about another business very briefly. And I think this is quite typical. Aromatherapy. Now, this is a particular industry where the majority of people I've met working in that industry, they're very gentle. They're very big-hearted people. And they want their products to speak for themselves. The issue is that aromatherapy these days is such a huge industry that if you've just got pretty pictures of bottles and fragrances on your page, you are no different than thousands of others. And especially now, as I mentioned at the beginning, people are looking online. Amazon, since the beginning of the year, has employed an additional 175,000 people. As an online business owner, because you are an online business owner now, you can't afford to not differentiate and show people how fabulous you are. Key number 2, I talked about how to leverage Facebook to build your brand and pre-sell to your clients and customers. It's all about building up the relationship. Just think about how quickly people scroll through their phones. If they're not seeing you, they won't know you're there. It's as simple as that. And key number 3, that brilliant tip from Marcus Sheridan about being upfront and honest about pricing, competitors, and answering as many questions as you can to your customers before you've even had a telephone call with them. Now, would you agree, I hope you would, that so far our time has been spent well together? And as I've mentioned several times, I cannot possibly cover everything in 60 minutes, not even in 60 days, because learning to market yourself, learning to strengthen your personal brand and understand that it is your business brand as well, is something that potentially goes against everything you've been brought up. We talk about, when we're children, be quiet, don't boast. It's not nice to be a show off and all these things. And then you get into business and it's quite crikey, I've got to do all this stuff now. There is a huge amount to learn about online branding, but I do want to give you a special offer now so that you can get everything you need to know, at least to start. And if you act fast, I'm going to give you a very special deal. Do you want to know what that is? It is an online branding package that is only available with this masterclass. Now, if you go to my website, you will see that I have there the online branding audit, where we sit down together over a Zoom call, 60 minutes, one-to-one, and I give you a custom strategy. We have a look at your website, we look at all your social media, we go through all that together, and then I send you the recording of our Zoom call. I send you a copy of all our notes so that you can work through that then on your own, no problem at all. Now, like I said, you'll find that on my website for 197. But because you've stayed until the end today, I'd like to give you a few extra bonuses to give you a kickstart to really building your online brand, leveraging your online brand so that you can pre-sell to those potential clients and customers in a way that you feel comfortable doing. So the first bonus I want to give you is an online branding strategy template. Remember, I talked about strategy, learning the hard way, hit and miss posts here and there, and not really having things lined up. Now, during the online brand audit, the one-to-one call, we do talk about what you could be doing over the next 30 days. That template is then yours to complete every month for the rest of the year, 2 years, 3 years, as long as you want to keep using it, so that you know what you're doing, so that you're not waking up in the morning and thinking, oh, crikey, what should I post today? I don't know what to do. The next bonus I want to give you is my video training, Present Like a Pro. People get so nervous. Again, it's all about, if you've got nervous about interviews or tests at school and these kind of things, or speaking to a camera, I need to speak to a human being. I've heard hundreds of excuses, believe me, about why people can't speak to the camera, and none of them are true. So you will also get that training, video training, so that you present like a pro, so that you get comfortable speaking to the camera. It's just another skill to learn, like you did when you were small, when you learned to tie your shoelaces or eat with a knife and fork. Discover your USP. Now, this is something a lot of people struggle with, your unique sales proposition or selling point. What is it about you that differentiates you from the rest of the people in your industry, in your sector? Now, clearly, as I've mentioned several times, you are completely unique, but it will be in your values. It will be your approach to your work that is going to be your unique selling proposition. Don't bother going down the customer service lane. Don't bother talking about price. Thousands of people are already doing that. Your USP is your values and how you help others feel when they are doing business with you, even if they are purchasing products from you. And finally, I'm going to provide you with a step-by-step training for Facebook and your website. So the things I've shown you here briefly today, there are a couple of 30-minute videos where I take you through step-by-step so that you can pause on the video, make the change, pause on the video, make the change, and do exactly the same on your website. I take you through those two processes step by step. Now, in total, that little lot would usually come to €785. I've already spoken about Catherine, the online business mum, who was just so busy, juggling all her plates and trying to work with Amazon and not on the high street and all the rest of it. And now she's getting traffic to her website and she's very, very happy. Getting systems, getting structures into your business is something that you can do for yourself. Stephanie, waste management, water waste management. This is the business I was talking about, where they have to go on site, where they have to look, can we dig a hole there? Or what do they need? Do they need this? Do they need that? And they've been spending a lot of time visiting clients to work out what exactly it is they need. We've just started working together. The numbers, the stats are beginning to go up. And this kind of industry is so brilliant for being able to answer people's questions on the website so that they can inform themselves in advance. Clearly, there will always be people who don't want to read what's on your website, but there will be a lot of people who are willing to put in the work. And then there's Joanna. And like I was saying, the people who make aromatherapy products, Joanna makes hand creams and face creams. And she's such a gentle soul. And she was so, I can't do this. But actually, when we started talking about, just putting her face on her website and showing people the face behind the business so that there is an emotional connection and it's not just a bunch of products on the page, things change, things just get better. I am not promising fabulous results overnight. It takes time for us as human beings to build up trust with other human beings. It takes time for us to get to know somebody, to notice you online. But everything I've told you today, everything I've taught you in the past 55 minutes or so, these are all things that you can do very, very easily. They won't take you a huge amount of time and they will put you in a great position, and you will begin to see why your personal brand is the same as your business brand, but also how allowing people to see the face behind the business really helps them to take the decision to buy from you. Now, I had two choices on this webinar, and it's very typical, I have to say, if I'm selling one of my high-end packages, is to go high-end, put a whole huge bunch of coaching and all the rest of it together to encourage people to come and work with me one-to-one. But we're living in a different world at the moment, and I know that, a lot of people have been furloughed. A lot of businesses, mine included, had their entire world turned upside down. And I would rather I could help more people by providing something, by offering something very practical at a lower price, at a lower option price, so that it makes it easier for you to say yes, not yes to me, but yes to you. So as I've mentioned, you've got all those things, the brand it, the strategy template, the video training, very important, your USP discovery, and the step-by-step training for Facebook and your website. Now, just think about this. If all this did was to help you get clear on how to show up, so that you actually had a strategy about what it was you wanted to do. Or if all this did was to help you feel more relaxed about connecting with your clients, for example, when you learn how to speak to the camera, when you feel relaxed and comfortable speaking to a screen or nobody in particular. But what if this actually helped you to define your USP, to find out what's unique about you, to go into your values and discover that it's your approach that helps people make that emotional connection to you? Would it be worth it? Well, I think it would actually be worth quite a lot more, because we're not just talking about the items in this online branding package that I'm offering you today. We're talking about what happens afterwards. We're talking about people like Catherine, who've seen her sales increase through the website. We've seen also Stephanie. We're talking about Stephanie and how she is limiting the amount of time that they have to spend going out to visit people. And we're talking about Joanna, who now, instead of just being one site of thousands with beautiful hand creams and face creams, is actually now her own brand. How much would all that be worth to you? How much would you actually pay to feel confident about showing up online? Well, that's the deal. Again, the total value on there, $785. And like I said, if you go to my website, you'll see just the online brand audit with none of these bonuses. These are only for you because you're here today. This would probably, I don't know, how much would I pay? How would I have paid for somebody to teach me how to be confident? I took a long time, many years, loads of investment, and I'm giving you my knowledge today for $197. So actually, you're getting the online brand audit anyway, that one-to-one Zoom call, and you are getting all the other bonuses as well, so that you've got an entire package so that you really have a solid base from which you can start promoting, you can start marketing, you can start establishing that emotional connection with your potential clients, with your potential customers, and so that you feel fabulous about being you. Now, just one more question. You can decide to do absolutely nothing. I've provided you, I believe, with a lot of information, with some very easy to take steps today. You know, you can go and change your profile, even if you just change your profile picture on your Facebook personal profile and your business page. Even if you just start writing a few blogs on your website, you will already be taking the steps to showing up as you, helping people understand who you are. But you could make also this small investment today. We could work together for 60 minutes, have our one-to-one call and all the other bonuses. And if you're not comfortable with what happens, just tell me. You have to demonstrate that you've done the work. But if you're not happy within 14 days of what we're doing, just tell me and you get your money back. How's that then? So what you need to do next is to copy this link to leverage your online brand now. It's very, very simple. And if you're wondering, you know, is this too difficult? Well, I am nothing special. Like I told you, I hated school. I didn't get fabulous qualifications until, well, I was 46 when I did my MBA. And only then, because I was listening to people, you know, you'll never carry on if you haven't got a qualification. And then I was made redundant. Great. I'm not good at skiing. My partner thinks I'm useless at skiing. I just slip down the slopes. I'm not particularly good at IT, although I do love a bit of technology. I do love working out how things work. But I do know how to help you leverage your brand online so that you're pre-selling to the people that you want to work with. Because when my business went down the pan in February this year, I had to take my entire business offline to online. And because I've already been working with people for years, helping them to promote and market themselves for job interviews, I've taken all that knowledge, I've pivoted, and now I want to help people like you, entrepreneurs, small business owners, to really connect with those people that want you to connect with them. So there we are. That's it. Just coming up for 60 minutes. Like I said, you won't find this anywhere else. There's nothing to stop you coming back and getting this link. But this is the only place that you will see this offer. You won't find it on my website or in any of my emails. I'd love you to stay in touch. Stay safe, stay healthy. Keep washing your hands. Loads of love and stay fabulous.